Hey everyone, I thought about doing this last night but fell asleep and didn't have a chance to do it. Of course, I also had my mom up still at the time, and things like that don't really work out, if you know what I mean. Uh, but yeah, I've got about at least an hour or so, an hour and a half to go, a little more than that, before I have to get ready, before I'm at work. So anyway, thought I'd talk about something that, I talked about this in the first video you're going to see that gets uploaded about Taryn Tyrell's heel turn, and how it's probably one of the best heel turns, one of the better heel turns that I think has been done in wrestling, especially for women, or stuff like that. Because when you if you watch Impact, and it's on demand on Destination America, you'll see the big change, almost like it said in the video, instantaneously she just goes right to heel. And it's like, whoa, where did this come from? And, here's someone, like I said, with Taryn that, some people even said is a natural babyface, but it kind of blurs the line. But now it's like, even though she's a natural babyface, even though she was, I should say, a natural babyface, there was always a lot of people that felt, well, she'd be better as a heel than a babyface because a heel becomes so more natural. So obviously it seems that way. Anyway, speaking of defining what is a babyface and a heel when it comes to women wrestling, women wrestlers or superstars or knockouts, or in this case, WWE Divas, it's kind of up in the air. It really is. I mean, we recently had Naomi turn heel. If you read spoilers and stuff, you have Emma going heel. So you have all these different divas going heel, some trying to go face, stuff like that. And as far as, the whole give divas a chance deal, yes, that's working out because, yeah, they're getting longer matches if you prefer match quality and length over storytelling. But as far as the divas overall go, as far as the division goes overall, the characters, it's very confusing, right? It seems to be very confusing because you don't know who's a face, who's a heel. Well, I think I know what's going on here. You see, the WWE has been basically, how do I put this? The WWE has basically been backed upon by fans. Basically, fans have climbed on the WWE's back and has pushed them to give us more of that gray area again. To give us that gray area that we got back during the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Give us more of that gray area to where we could cheer for who we want, even though they might act like a heel, kind of deal. And right now, it seems that as far as the superstars go, it's sort of clearly defined, not really, but sort of clearly defined who's the heels and who's the baby faces. Pretty much clearly defined. I mean, we know the Authority are heels. We know anybody associated with the Authority is a heel. We know anybody against the Authority is a babyface. So it's like I say, it's kind of black and white. Well, it's not black and white, I should say. It's basically more clearer, excuse me. It's more clearer to define who's the babyface and who's the heels. It really is. And I know some people might say that's untrue, but you know what? It is true if you watch the product. Now, I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown that much in a while. And when I do, I can clearly see who's the baby faces and who's the heels as far as the superstars and the major feuds and storylines are concerned. But when it comes to the Divas division, this is where it gets a little confusing. Because it's like 1 week you have a diva being a heel, the following week they're a face. Heck, if you want to go even crazier, you have 1 day they're a heel, the next day they're a face. It's like, what is the point? What is going on here? Well, I think I know what's going on. I think the WWE, because they've been so backed upon by the fans of giving us, of going back to that gray area to where it doesn't matter who acts like what, we should be able to cheer or boo for whoever we want, right? I think what the WWE is doing, in my opinion, is they're using the Divas division as an answer to that gray area. That's what it is. They think, in the honest opinion, that the Divas division is going to be that gray area to where it doesn't matter, who's a heel or who's a babyface. You're just going to enjoy it no matter what. You're going to cheer or boo for whoever you want. That's pretty much the thing. They're looking at the fact that the Divas division is going to be the gray area. It's going to basically be, yeah, the Bellas may act like heels, but guess what? You're going to cheer for them. Naomi may be a babyface, but you know what? You're going to boo her. We're going to give you reasons. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's confusing. Because recently you've had the Bellas get cheered. And the only reason I think the Bellas are getting cheered is due to the fact that maybe the in-ring work is improving. Maybe. You could see that it is. But maybe it's also the fact that the recent actions, the way they've been talking lately, the way they've been kind of portrayed, fans are actually getting behind because they're like, yeah, this is a side we want to see from the Bellas. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't really know. But when you take a look at Naomi, it's like, why suddenly turn her heel when you know the fans were behind her? And that was my dog in the background. And the only thing I can think of is because, again, WWE feels, yeah, we'll turn Naomi heel, but it doesn't necessarily mean the fans are going to boo her. It's just going to be a gray area for them. Like I said, same with the Bellas. There were fans that were still behind the Bellas when they were heels, but guess what? They still cheered them, and that was a gray area for them. So I think that's what the WWE is looking at the division as being that gray area that we used to see a lot during the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era. I know that might sound crazy to a lot of you guys. It may not make a lot of sense, but think about it. We clearly do not know who is defined as a babyface or a heel. We don't know which sides are the good girls, which sides are the bad girls. We don't know. I mean, take a look at Naomi. She's turned heel for what reason? Because they needed a heel? Hello? Didn't they, last year turn her tag team partner heel? So what sense does it make, not even a year later, to turn her heel? Unless you're going to bring back the Funkadactyls under a different name. I don't get it. And then Natalya. Here's one of the most dedicated, most talented divas you've got. And she's sort of in that gray area. Because you don't know whether or not you want to cheer for her or you want to boo her. Because she's associated with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, who are supposed to be heels. And yet, that's the confusing part. You take a look at Alicia. Here's a good example of a diva that they have no idea what to do with sometimes. Sometimes she's a face, sometimes she's a heel. You turned her heel for a while, she was a dominant Divas champion. You turned her into a crazy bitch, excuse my language, Lord. When she would win or lose, she would just go crazy. She would be unpredictable. Then you decide to turn her face. Then you decide to turn her back into crazy bitch. It's like, what's the point? Rosa Mendez. What are you doing with her? You're going to put her in a situation with Fandango when she now associates with Adam Rose as part of revenge or something? Summer Rae, same thing. You don't know. It's like, what is the clear defining role for these divas? I mean, I understand. I mean, I could get maybe from what I've read and understand that they want to bring in that reality of total divas, that format, that kind of like characterization that you see in Total Divas. They want to bring that to the forefront and allow the divas to be like that. And if that works, fine, great, more power to them. But still, it's confusing. It's like, okay, wait a minute. You had these people, you had these divas heel, and yet now you're having them face. I mean, when people look at the Bellas, it's like all of a sudden, just because you turn Naomi heel, you're suddenly saying, okay, Naomi's heel, Bellas go face. It's like, what? Why? Why? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand Paige is out doing a movie. That's why she's written out as a storylines, due to a storyline injury. But really? Just because Paige is out, now all of a sudden you're going to turn the Bella's heel? I mean, the Bella's face? And this is a team that she defeated along with AJ before AJ retired? Doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I mean, now all of a sudden you're trying to turn Emma heel just by, if you read the NXT spoilers. It's like, and then Layla, you don't know what she's going to be at. You don't know if she's going to keep her heel or you're going to go face with her again. We don't know what you're doing with Layla. It's like, it's basically unlike the superstars and unlike the main storylines and all that, there's no clear definition. I mean, with the tag team division, you kind of have a clear definition of who's a face team and who's a heel team. You clearly got a definition there. Well, somewhat. But with the divas, you don't. And maybe, I'm thinking maybe that person that used to write for the WWE has a point about them. Maybe the WWE just looks at them as being unpredictable, crazy women, and that's how they're portrayed. Maybe they are going by what Jerry Lawler once said, that all women naturally hate each other, and maybe they're going to go with that. But the thing is, with this division, there's no clear definition unless this division is going to be that gray area that fans have been asking the WWE to have again. And if that's the case, then fine, at least acknowledge it. Acknowledge that this is somewhat of a gray area. When you do diva tag matches, if you want to define that the Divas division is a gray area, have the divas that have to team up with each other not want to be around each other. Have to force each other in by force tagging or something. Do something. Honestly. It's like, it's like it's just too confusing. And this is why, believe it or not, fans, wrestling fans, wrestling, sports entertainment fans, whatever you want to call them, smart marks, whatever, they prefer the Knockouts division over the WWE's Divas division, because the Knockouts division, as crazy as it may sound, is more clearly established with who's baby-faced and who's a heel. They clearly are. Because there is no real gray area there. There is not. I mean, you look at Impact, and you clearly saw a heel turn, which was probably one of the better heel turns, overall for anybody in a long time, especially a diva or a knockout. It's like, it's like, what, it's like, why can't the WWE do this? I don't get it. All I know is with the Divas division, they really need to get their act together. They need to get it together. They need to make it work. Because honestly, folks, right now, whether you're a fan of the Divas or you're not, you have to admit, this division is clearly not defined by who's the baby faces and who's the heels. Because we don't know. It constantly changes. And unless it's a gray area, like fans have been asking WWE to have for a while, and it's just for the Divas division, then again, like I said, at least acknowledge it somehow. Do a six diva tag or a diva tag match or something, or even an 8 diva tag where you have one side of where you have all the divas not wanting to team with each other, but they have to. Do something, honestly, because the question obviously is here: is the Divas division the gray area of the WWE? Just saying. You let me know what you think down below.